let's talk about the law on free speech, because a judge has slapped down Florida's efforts, and of course, Mark, you're based in Florida. They wanted to ban an abortion ad. And one of the things that the judge said, this is U.S. District Judge Mark E. Walker, wrote in his ruling, to keep it simple to the state of Florida, it's the First Amendment, stupid. This is Florida's health department. It was trying to block a TV advertisement in support of a ballot measure that would protect abortion rights. And they tried to, they were on Thursday, the department sent letters to local TV stations commanding them to stop airing the ad or risk criminal consequences. Well, the judge told them to shut up and suck it up. It's free speech, right, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't have been worded more strongly when he said that their position was stupid. That's really very strong, obviously very strong for a federal judge to say. I mean, the fact that the Florida Department of Health and the governor wanted this ballot initiative actually banned from airing on TV with the threat of criminal prosecution is beyond outrageous. I mean, it just defies common sense, where you have, the right of free speech, which is right in our Constitution, that, that the governor and the Department of Health would ignore that. In fact, the general counsel of the Department of Health, who actually wrote the letter to the TV station, resigned right after that. Saying that he couldn't, in his conscience, couldn't do this anymore. But right now there's a pending lawsuit that's still, there's a preliminary injunction that was issued that would allow the ads to go forward. There'll be a hearing on a permanent injunction shortly, but sued are not only the governor, the Florida Surgeon General, and the Department of Health. So this was just an incredible abuse of the First Amendment, in my opinion.
Crazy. Ron DeSantis and, as you say, Department of Health, they don't want these ads to go ahead because they are saying, they want Roe versus Wade rolled back, but nothing pro-abortion, and they tried to do it legally to shut them up. I love what the judge had to say. Let's come to you, Joseph, in the UK. Let's talk about Labour, for instance. Now, they stopped that whole freedom of speech law. Remember this is the one that the Tories brought in, and this was the Higher Education Freedom of Speech Bill. It became law in May 2023, with the previous Conservative government branding it a huge step forward in protecting freedom of speech and academic freedom on university campuses. But Labour's put that on hold, and they're talking about maybe even repealing it.
Yeah, Trisha, there are a few things going on here. So we had that Freedom of Speech Act, slightly weird act, I have to say, because it was a kind of one-issue act of Parliament. And it was in that kind of unpopular phase of the last 12, 18 months of the Tory government, where you saw them reaching out more and more to the fringes of its wings, where it felt support would be strongest, Rwanda, et cetera, et cetera. Some commentators on the right have presented there is a situation where there's this epidemic of universities banning people from just saying what they think. That's something that the student population of the UK, I should say, disagrees with. Office for National Statistics, not a partisan organisation, a government, in fact, a statutory organisation, I should say, under a Tory government, said that 9 out of 10 students that they surveyed said that they felt pretty much they could express any views they wanted to, rather than being under some kind of communist left-wing breeding ground of fanatical anti-right-wing views. I should say this, though. The problem with untrammeled freedom, and that's an important principle, untrammeled freedom of speech laws, is that we don't, and most places do not have, including the USA, an absolute right to freedom of speech. And that's because certain types of speech are tremendously dangerous. Think about lying. think about fraud. You know, you can't say something to make someone do something you want to do dishonestly when it's not true, because guess what? You might well go to prison. And of course, there are the types of words and behaviour that are designed to undermine or to harm other people, not just on the basis of race, but also the type of behaviour that can undermine our sense of security, encouraging people to riot. We've had that in the news a lot recently, haven't we? Well, that's speech too. And most of that legislation is not newfangled lefty organisation. Public Order Act, dear, 1980s, Margaret Thatcher government, you know.
Well,